Yeah, you're.
You always go?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't
I
know.
get to get some people that I know.
You know, rough percent. I like bacon. I'm not mad. Seven in my house. Seven.
Nate?
I know, that's what I'm thinking. No, it was already like this, so.
More, the old people. The old.
When you're waiting for that 1 minute, it takes forever.
The boils.
5 seconds.
5 seconds, okay.
We're ready?
We're just waiting, oh, here, okay. Roll call shows all council members are here tonight, and there is a copy of the Open Meetings Act by the front door. If anyone would like to get it, it's available for public review. And tonight we have an invocation with Jeff Allen.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for these folks and their dedication and commitment to our community. Father, I pray that tonight you would give them wisdom with whatever subjects there are that are in front of them, that they would have clarity as to what to do in unity. And as a community, I pray that we would continue to grow in how we follow you, and we would continue to just learn to be more faithful each day as we do so. So God, thank you for the many blessings you pour out upon us and how you have just blessed us so greatly living in this place. So Father, we ask this in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
We'll do the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call this council meeting to order. Do we have any announcements or recognitions?
Just a few. I'll start off, just wanted to note a couple of meetings that are coming up. On August 12th, we're at the Planning Commission meeting. There's a special exception request that'll come before the Planning Commission, and we'll get that material out here as soon as possible. Then also, there's a budget workshop scheduled for August 13th. That's going to start at 5:30 here in the council chambers. And we would encourage the public to participate. We're working on the budget right now, trying to get everything completed so that way we can get that over to the council as soon as practical. It's probably gonna be the day of. Kind of what we've done here recently. I appreciate Tara and Leanne's work. I know they both spent a lot of hours on this weekend trying to get everything kind of finalized so that way we can get this done. So
5:30?
Yep, 5:30 in the council chambers, so. And then we're turning over to Kevin Hodgson really fast, and I'm gonna have one more announcement.
Good evening. Just wanted to let the council know that the department has been recognized by Lexipol for excellence in training management. We received a silver award. And a little bit about it is recognized for the excellence in training management in 2023 by Lexipol, which is the nation's leading provider of policy, training, and wellness support for first responders and public servants. The Lexipol Connect program tracks our department's performance on 5 metrics proven to measure success in training management. The police department achieved silver recognition for consistent and effective online training management, which includes training hours, assigned and completed, and tracked personnel engagement and external training activities logged. So due to the amount of training that we did in 2023 through Lexipol, they awarded us the silver award.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations.
And then, last, I just want to acknowledge the tragedy that occurred on October 18th. One of the city's own, Wayne Cook, passed away tragically in an accident doing his job. I don't know if everybody had a chance to meet Wayne, but Wayne was a real fun guy. Enjoyed the time that I got to spend with him. I know that the guys over at the transfer station absolutely adored him. You know, the transfer station is a department that doesn't always get the recognition that other departments get. You know, we kind of changed the way that we addressed our trash, the refuse collection, and then also just how we're going to deliver the refuse to J-Bar-J. They're our landfill that we utilize. Back in 2013, the council decided that we weren't going to contract out services any longer because we wanted to make sure that it was done correctly and right, and wanted to make sure that everything was being done expeditiously, and so the council chose to go ahead and start providing trash service on our own. On the removal side, obviously we were already doing it here in town, but we found some fantastic drivers, some fantastic equipment. I think that Wayne came to work for us, I want to say it was 2017.
Is it here?
Yeah, 2016 maybe. And was consistent, brilliant, fantastic mechanic, dependable, and somebody who made it enjoyable to come to work every single day. And we're gonna miss him a lot. And I just, I guess on our end, you know, I think it's important for the public to understand how difficult and dangerous some of these jobs that we perform are. You know, you take things for granted sometimes, but when you're hauling 24 tons of trash up and down the road on a daily basis, 2 times, 2 separate drivers, so we're taking 4 loads on a daily basis, you're putting yourself in a dangerous position, and you can be as safe as you possibly want to be, but that doesn't account for other people's actions. And so on our end, we just want to give our condolences to Jenny and her family, also the guys over at the transfer station. I guess if you guys get a chance, if people get a chance, pat them on the back and say thank you. It's a job that not a lot of people want. And those guys do a fantastic job, and we do it for a very, very reasonable price. And we're not doing it for a profit, you know, and one of the things I know we're gonna have to look at some point in time here in the near future is, you know, what do we do? Because a lot of those guys are getting a little bit older, and how are we going to address that issue? And so So anyway, I'm not here to, eulogize anybody, but, Wayne was a really good guy.
There'll be big shoes to fill for us.
That's all I got.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing, a report from the Economic Development Plan Citizens Advisory Review Committee regarding the meeting held July 22nd, 2024. Motion?
I move to recess as a city council and convene a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment on a report from the Economic Development Plan Citizens Advisory Review Committee regarding the meeting held July 22nd, 2024, with the city attorney to act as hearing officer.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor vote yea, opposed nay.
My vote's cast yea, your vote's cast nay.
Aye.
Hi, good evening. I'm gonna go over the report from the meeting here a couple weeks ago.
Let's get the exhibits in first, if you don't
Okay.
mind. Before I forget.
Yep.
Alright. There are 4 exhibits being offered for this hearing. Exhibit number 1, city manager's report. Exhibit number 2 is the notice of public hearing. That's 1 page. Exhibit number 3 is the agenda, the July 22nd, 2024 quarterly economic development plan citizens advisory review committee meeting. That's 10 pages. Exhibit number 4 is the meeting minutes from the April 22nd, 2024 Economic Development Plan Citizens Advisory Review Committee. That's 4 pages. I'll accept exhibits 1 through 4 into evidence. And now I'll turn it over to our presenters.
Appreciate it. And then when I'm done, I asked Amanda Engel to be here and just provide a housing update so you guys are current with what's going on with those projects. So the quarter we visited was third quarter, April through June, for the LD 840 report. And some of the items we discussed are, we continue to utilize the LD 840 funds for economic development purposes in the community, especially with our housing development projects and the business park expansion project. But there's also a couple items that we utilize those funds for, and I just kind of go through them and provide an update on that. So in this quarter, we did utilize $23,525 to go towards some environmental reports and studies down at the business park. As bigger corporations or companies look to expand, and if McCook's on their radar, these are some of the due diligence items that they do ask about and request if we have it. So that's part of that. The other part in that is I talked about in previous times up here, we're looking at the BNSF certified site program. This is also some due diligence items that they request prior to submitting an application. Good thing is we haven't spent those funds. They were just kind of earmarked to go towards that when they all got finished. As of last week, I did receive the final wetlands and delineation report, so those reports are completed now, and we can kind of get going on some of that marketing the business park down there on a regional and national scale too. So. The next item on there was an expense for $1,456.93 towards a retail coach, part of our contract with them that I spoke to you guys previously about when we entered the contract with them. Is we do from time to time have to cover some of their travel expenses as part of that contract. So that was hotel stay, food and lodging, fuel from their time in McCook a few months ago. Another item that we are reserving funds for as part of the infrastructure build out, both at the Mountain North Point Housing Development Project up there in the business park. We are utilizing a line of credit to finance that infrastructure work, which in return will be offset with the utilization of TIF on those. But the plan is right now, until TIF starts kicking in, it does take some time for that to happen. Typically anywhere from 1 to 2 years after the completion of the project, based on how they do property tax valuations here. We are gonna utilize some of that in the interim to pay the interest on those lines of credits. The other item we are in the process of working on, we're working with Nate and city staff on this, is both these projects ended up costing a little bit more than what we initially anticipated. Some of the costs, as everybody knows, costs have gone up. So we do have some funds earmarked to help pay down some of those to avoid the interest rates that are currently going on, and they'll just help kind of pay those down a little bit quicker and avoid some of those interests. We are looking at getting a loan with the utilizing LD 840 funds for the North Point in the amount of $250,000. And Business Park Phase 2 in the amount of $105,000. And that is gonna be repaid back to the LD 840 fund after the TIF comes off. And anything, any type of other revenue or income that's derived, whether it's the selling of lots or how valuations go up, we're gonna utilize that to pay back towards the LD 840 fund and make sure we have funds for future projects down the road as well. And then the last thing on the report is $12,000, which is our match portion towards the micro enterprise loan program. We did have an approval for a loan to go towards Elevate Wellness's new expansion project for equipment in there. 28,000 of that is being repaid by DED on that, and then our final matching portion is that $12,000 for that program. And by this $12,000, we'll have fulfilled all of our obligations that we were asked to in that 2-year contract. We actually had till the end of this year to fulfill it, but got done a little bit early. The program's been pretty successful in the 1.5 years that we've had it. We've helped at least 3 startups and 2 expansions, one being a daycare center and one is growing from their current location into a larger footprint. So it's done very, very well for the short amount of time. Now we just gotta wait till some of those payments are coming back to recycle those towards other projects and build up that fund too, so. Any questions on this quarter's report?
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'll turn it over to Amanda.
Yeah, we just thought we would give you guys kind of an update on where we're at with housing. If you've been to the 2 kind of major projects that we have going on, it's been pretty busy. We're on track for everything to be completed in 2024, and we've had a lot of interest from the community, and units are still available and for sale, and they're listed through our local realtors. Arrowhead Construction's been fantastic to work with. We meet with them monthly, and I speak with them almost daily, and I'm at the job sites almost daily too. So, I mean, we keep a pretty close eye on everything that's going on, and I'd love to see them stay and work in the community more because they've been really great to work with. But we're really excited to see the progress that's going on up there. We have, I have requested that they clean up the job site a little bit. If you've been up there, it's a little bit sporadic and stuff, so they're working on that. They've just been working so quickly, going through piles of lumber and stuff, that hasn't been quite the priority, which I completely understand. But we're excited to see these be completed this fall, so, and then it'll be on to the next project.
Great.
Yeah.
Any other questions for our presenters? Any comments or questions from city staff? Recommend we reconvene as city council.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Move to accept the minutes of the April 22nd, 2024 Economic Development Plan Citizens Advisory Review Committee meeting.
Second.
Awesome. All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay. Just got that.
5 votes cast yea, no votes cast nay.
Okay, next item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is approved in one motion. Any item listed on the consent agenda may, by the request of any city council member or public in attendance, be considered as a separate item under the regular agenda. Anybody wanna pull anything?
I wanna pull 3E.
Okay,
I'd like to pull 3B as in boy, please.
3A, 3B, anybody else? How about staff? Anybody in the public wanna pull anything? Okay. 3A,
On the consent agenda, I make a motion that we accept items A, C, D, F, G, and H. Second.
okay, all those in favor to accept items A, C, D, F, and H, vote yea, opposed nay. Okay,
My vote's cast yea, no votes cast nay.
I move to approve item 3B as in boy.
I'll second that.
okay. We've got a motion to approve item 3B as in boy. All those in favor vote
Can
yea.
I ask some questions, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I don't understand the hand-drawn map. I don't understand it at all. I mean, we've got plat map, but I guess first I need to understand where exactly are we talking about in relation to Wilcox's property versus the city? And why do they want to irrigate our property? I just don't understand it.
Okay, the area is indicated on that map there is what they presented to me. And that is the locations of where the sprinkler heads are going to be, the little dot things that are there.
Okay.
And it's out there in that kind of that rectangular shape. That's the part that they're actually asking to utilize.
So who does it-
Hey, is that
Yeah.
behind your house?
Behind our house and the Hirschberger duplexes and the Wilcox property.
Okay, so that belongs to us, correct?
That city McCook
But
property.
he wants to put irrigation just to,
Directed grass, yeah, we had some neighbors on the Hirschberger side that did the same thing as well too. Actually, Don Harps goes out there and he waters it all by hand. So the neighbors up there, we maintain all that, so we mow it, we take care of it. That's the way we've always operated up there in that area. I think that his thought is he wants to try to make it a little bit nicer. Try to keep it as clean as possible. And you do get stickers, you get those kinds of things, the weeds do creep up into the yards, that's understandable on our end. I fight the same thing. I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna put that kind of money into it. But he understands that, he's doing so at his own risk. If anything ever were to develop back there, he would take responsibility for that, he'd have to remove it and whatnot. I don't see that happening just because you can't develop that area. It's not, adjacent to a street. To the best of my knowledge, since that subdivision was created, it's just been kind of maintained by all the property owners back there. Like I said, yeah, it's, let's see. So you see all those properties right there? Just on the east side of that. So if you go east of there, just move the cursor to the east.
to the right.
Yeah, sorry. And then, it's lots, I think it's 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's 3 and 4, but it's that big lot that's combined together on there.
So it'll be just 200 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just wants to maintain
Square pieces. Just wants to improve it by putting an irrigation system in. That's his expense. I mean, he's gonna hook up to city water.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not
He's
gonna
got a
hook
well, that's what he's doing as far as the hookup. That being said, it doesn't change anything for us because, like, it can't be developed.
He's gonna mow it
You got a
and
creek
he's
to the
gonna-
eastern side can't be traversed. It's not a big deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay,
so the questions I had, Your Honor.
okay,
Thank
so
you.
do we have a motion to approve item B? on the consent agenda?
We had a motion and a second.
We do have that.
Okay, all those in favor vote yea, opposed nay.
I votes cast yea, no votes cast nay.
Okay,
Mine now.
yours now.
I make a motion approving the application from Great Plains Communication to occupy a city right-of-way for the purpose of installing one above-ground fiber cable, or cabinet, excuse me, on East 11th Street. I believe Pat Barber gave the council a picture of what it's gonna look like.
I'll second the motion.
And I believe we have representative from Great Plains, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
Do we
you wanna come up and just explain where exactly it's gonna be so people know?
Can we vote on the motion before we have discussion, please? Please,
Oh, I'm sorry,
just trying to keep it in order,
you're right.
please.
Okay, all those.
No, we got a discussion.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
discussing
We need to just.
Yeah, we have.
You have a motion,
We
a
have a
second,
motion,
and
so
then you
you-
discuss it, and then you vote.
All right,
Go. You may.
let's rock and roll.
So the picture there is actually the one at the fairgrounds, and it's gonna be half that size, and it won't be near as that tall. I sent another picture today of it. I think maybe you have a copy of it. It's a lot shorter, yes, that one there. It's 4 foot tall by 34 inches wide. And it'll sit on a piece of concrete like that on 11th Street.
We'll be in, it'd be in the place of where there currently is a telephone box.
Yeah,
Level
there's,
ground.
yeah, there's one level, we'll take that out, which is, right there, be the second pole from the corner.
Okay. Went down there and walked around and I saw that.
Yeah, there's a.
It says
vault there now.
telephone on it next to the utility
Yep,
pole. That's
yep.
your box.
Yep, we'll take that one out and we'll just dig a bigger hole and set that platform in there. And then that cabinet will sit on top of that. And that's just to help feed all the customers on the east side of town there, the hospital, and help make it ring, so if something does get cut, hopefully it won't kick everybody down. So when we get down.
When
the
it
road-
gets cut, right?
Right, it always happens.
Somebody will get it, yeah.
It always happens.
Always does.
Okay,
And you don't think it'll block the view of people coming either direction on East 11th or
No.
6th Street?
Because like you said,
It's set back away from
Yeah,
the, okay.
it's quite a ways from the corner there. Actually, there's a big culvert that comes through there, and it's on the north side of it.
Okay,
okay,
thank you, appreciate
thank
it.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all those in favor of approving item number G, vote yea, opposed nay.
I votes. I votes cast yea, no votes cast nay. I had
Say,
them all.
what did I screw up?
Okay, we're gonna move on to the regular agenda, update regarding the ballpark project.
Ballpark project is moving forward. Just give a timeline here really quickly as far as where we're at. Here over the course of the next month and a half to 2 months, it's some things that we're working on right now. We do have a call scheduled with Moody's tomorrow at 2:30. We actually were working on some prepared statements for that call. Tara, Leanne, and I worked on that this afternoon. So that way we made sure that we're ready to go when tomorrow comes. We've been working with DA Davidson as far as trying to schedule our timeline of events that need to occur. We've already got a couple of these things checked off of our list. Like I said, tomorrow is our Moody's phone call with their analysts. August 23rd, we're expecting to get our credit rating back from Moody's by that time. And we'll have our preliminary official statement deemed final at that time. The week of August 26th, we're gonna run an ad in the newspaper. September 4th, Davidson's gonna start taking order for the anticipation notes. September 5th, the note purchase agreement will be signed between the city and DA Davidson. On September 20th, we're looking at closing, and all funds will be wired to the city on the bond anticipation note. And We're looking at closing on October 2nd. So things are moving forward quickly. With respect to other items that we're addressing at this time, last week, Kyle, Tara, and I worked on trying to finalize the ballpark committee. We're gonna get together with Mayor Taylor and a couple of Kyle's guys just to make sure that we've got everybody kind of put in the place where we want them. I know we've got Darcy and Jared, they're gonna be part of that committee. So we'll try to get something back to you as soon as possible. It's not just gonna be ballpark too, we're also gonna be looking at soccer facilities and things like that, just to make sure we've got some different perspectives. And then today, we had a conference with Craig Bennett from Miller and Associates, just kind of beginning the initial discussing, or development discussions. We discussed what we kind of anticipate the zoning to look like in that area, what the blend may be, and then also trying to ensure that we've got enough space for the ballpark, so we're kind of doing some overlay work just to kind of see what size of facility we're going to be able to locate at the land. But again, this is just kind of initial conversations, nothing is set in stone. I do want to bring the MEDC into that discussion. Didn't get a chance to give you a call today, Charlie. It just kind of was an impromptu meeting, but we'll be having more of those types of discussions. But just wanted to let the council know that we have made contact with Miller and Associates, and we will start the planning process. Well, we have started the planning process, but there'll be more detail to come. That's where we're at.
Sounds like we're moving forward, that's exciting.
One small thing.
What?
I just checked my email. I did get the signed addendum back from Cody today. So Mayor, if you want to swing by my office to sign the new addendum to the purchase agreement, looks like closing has been set for October 2nd, is when John wants to close.
I'll be there in the morning, first thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion regarding the proposed UTV ordinance that we have looked at. North Platte, Norfolk, Beatrice, Gothenburg, Aurora, Wisconsin, and whatever else we've looked at. We've looked at a bunch of them.
So basically what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to present the council with some options for you guys to look at, to say, we like this, we don't like this, you know, here's something that we can work with, that we can tailor to what you guys feel is best for the city of McCook. I made some follow-up phone calls with some police departments, with North Platte, Norfolk, Scottsbluff, and Ogallala. I was asking them, how is it going since enacting your ordinances as far as trying to cover the questions that you guys might have as a council. North Platte, they said things are going well up there. The majority of their complaints come from folks that don't register their UTV, or they operate it on the highway when they're not supposed to operate it on the highway. Otherwise, they have a checklist that they go through. They don't send anybody to any specialized training to decide what's a qualified U.S. Forest Service park arrestor. And so basically they said it's just been going pretty good. The other three kind of echoed the same thing. Norfolk said that people were paying attention to the ordinance, but they pointed out that they have a $300 fine for violation of the ordinance. So that was kind of a guess as to why they thought things were going well up there. Again, no specialized training, and whatnot. They said that they've had 313 registrations so far in Norfolk, and they've had very little issues with their ordinance. Scottsbluff, same thing, not very many issues. They told me that they updated their UTV ordinance a couple years ago, but we didn't really get into that as to what that meant. Again, same thing, no specialized training. However, I was told that for violations, they do go through their city attorney to handle that in court as far as, Councilman Calvin, as far as, revocation of registrations.
Okay.
They go through the court system. And then with Ogallala, same thing, not very many problems. The major issues were driving it on Highway 30 and folks trying to get over the overpass there in Ogallala. And so, basically, it was just, same thing, just covering those folks. And then I looked at,
Did you make copies? Or-
No, I didn't make
Okay.
copies. What I did was, is I made an array by looking at, 7 other cities to see how we compared with our proposed ordinance across the board. I tried to pick a cross-section from fairly large to,
That's
Ogallala, which, might be a little smaller than us. But if you look, those numbers that you're seeing there, those are the specific ordinance numbers for that city to make it a little bit easier to understand what exactly you're looking at. So as you go across, what you're gonna find out is state statute kind of sets the minimum. That's the minimum level that we have to obtain in order to have an ordinance. And then the cities and, these cities here then go in and they add what they want. So as long as they're more strict than, if you will, than the state statute, and they're kind of custom tailoring it to what they have in their town. And so, as you go across from left to right, you can see those gaps there. Those were spaces where I didn't find that it was specifically annotated in the ordinance for that category. And so, what you're gonna see is we stack up pretty good across all those other, towns as far as, what we're trying to do here. And so, there is, to answer Kyle Potoff's question, there are 2 towns that actually have it written in that require rollover protection. And you'll notice that's Crete and Columbus require rollover protection. And pretty much everybody has written in to their ordinance seatbelts. And so you guys can take a look at that and kind of see how we stack up on that side of things. And so basically then in presenting the council options, we're looking at what are we comfortable with? Where do we set the bar for safety? Where do we set the bar for required equipment? I stopped by Lewis Motorsports today and I took a look at several models of UTVs. Things like turn signals, rear view mirrors, reflectors, those can all be upfitted. Mr. Lewis told me that they have the ability to upfit so that we can meet all those requirements. The models that I was looking at were more of the 2-seat design rather than the 4-seat design. There is, from what I saw, there is nothing in the UTV that would allow, I think, to meet statutory requirements, putting a car seat in there, because it just won't meet the latch standard. I don't think it'll meet the latch standard. That would require another upfit or modification from what I saw. And so basically that's kind of where we're at right now. What are we comfortable with? Where are we going with how we want to handle it? And so, I guess you guys have any questions?
Norfolk, so they allow golf courts. I have family there that have a golf cart. What is some of the things that they, I guess, do? Golf carts, UTVs, is there a
believe,
difference between those two?
yeah, golf cars are defined, in statute. And so I believe Norfolk has their own separate ordinance that deals with golf cars specifically. Let's see if I can find it. I think it might be in the council packet.
What I printed out for Norfolk did not have anything for the golf cars. Beatrice's is in there.
Well, I think it's,
Norfolk allows golf carts.
They do,
It's-
and what I printed out doesn't have.
I
it.
think you have them swapped. Yeah, with-
Oh, I have them swapped?
Yeah, so Article 12 of Norfolk's ordinance, Section 24-371, defines the golf car vehicle, and it pretty much mirrors our UTV. So you have to have things like a Class O license. There's places where you can drive it and where you can't drive it.
They have rollover protection. I guess my biggest thing is rollover protection. I know they allow golf carts, but I just didn't know on the UTV side, do they?
I did not study the golf car portion of the ordinance to know whether that is included, rollover protection. And I don't think in their, looking at my array, I don't
So you're
think,
saying that it pretty much mirrors what the UTV,
right,
what that
with
ordinance
that,
is?
yeah, with that exception that there is no, not in Norfolk.
They don't have a speed, it has to go,
Yeah,
here
there,
it says,
yeah, there is a speed,
maximum level ground
Maximum.
speed
And
of
if-
less
if-
than 20 miles per hour.
right, and
So
if
they would
it,
have to have a governor.
well, you just wouldn't be able to go more than 30 miles an hour. And if the speed limit was less than 30 miles an hour, you have to obey the speed limit. So if the speed limit's 25, you can't take your vehicle more than 25. So,
Well, this is 20 miles an
or
hour.
20,
So 20 miles an hour or less.
yeah.
That makes sense.
We have worked on this for a long, long time. And we've looked at a lot of communities, the council has. We've looked at a lot of what they put into place. So I guess my question is, why do we want to be the only community to prohibit children under age 8? Why are we putting that in there if no one else has? Why
Well,
should we?
I think what we're trying to accomplish is, there's a state statute that requires children up to the age of 8 to be in a car seat. And if we're going to define a UTV as a motor vehicle, once we make that definition, then everything in the rules of the road start to apply, which means we have to be concerned about the occupant protection system. We have to be concerned about child supplemental restraint systems, car seats, booster seats, things of that nature. And so in order to, and if I can speak about the city attorney's recommendation, we are keeping our most vulnerable population safe. That's the goal.
So you're telling me that North Platte, Norfolk, Beatrice, Gothenburg, Aurora,
Well,
they don't have to follow but we do?
So this was,
I
this
don't
is,
get it.
this is my area that I kind of dug into. Was my memo included in the packet?
Yes.
Okay. So Mark, Chief Harpham, actually steered me to Miss Aguilar, who helps run the hospital's safety restraint program, child restraint program. And she actually checked with her higher ups, and what she learned is that according to state and federal law, you have to install child safety car seats in conformance with their manufacturer's instructions. And those instructions on those car seats specifically define what an automobile is, and it excludes verbatim UTVs, ATVs. So according to federal law, those cannot be installed correctly into a UTV. It just can't be done. So in my analysis, I don't believe these other communities that allow children under the age of 8 are complying with federal or state law.
I guess my question is, are we gonna be able to enforce that?
Well,
Is that, you know what I mean?
it's,
Like, we're already short-staffed, are we gonna?
right.
We're gonna have to probably take,
I think just by seeing it, we're gonna be able to tell, we've got a young person sitting in the UTV. And I think at that point, we're allowed to make an investigatory stop to check to make sure that everybody is being safe. If they meet the statutory requirements and they meet the ordinance, okay, thank you for,
but
your patience.
I'm just saying, what if a young kid says, I'm 8 years old, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have an ID, right? I
But
mean,
I would argue that children under the age of 8 don't know how to lie yet.
I'm just saying. I have a kid that's 4 years old.
Yes, sorry.
But my point is, it's a hard one to enforce. And
Well, we'd have the same problem with curfew. We don't know whether those kids are 10 or above, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying, it's just, that's a hard one to enforce in my eyes. You're gonna have to take the parents' word for it, we have to trust at some level, you know, our citizens. I don't know, I think it's just a added level of something that if we need to bring it back and change that ordinance. I think we're gonna be learning a lot in the next year anyways. And
Right.
there might be other things that we need to change.
Sure.
That might be one of them.
So if we run it like we've got it without that part in there, if we need to change it, we can change it. I think about third Thursdays, okay, or when we're having people come downtown, family events, and they can't bring the little ones because they're under the age of 8 in the UTV. I don't know.
They can bring their cars.
I know, but what about, should we ask the audience, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I don't know, I guess, my thoughts on it, I just, at what point do you have to rely on people's ability to use common sense, and trust that they're gonna do the right thing? It's like I've said from the beginning, I never in a million years thought that I would leave my house in my golf cart and go to Walmart to get groceries. What I plan to do is go 3 blocks down to my dad's house and 3 blocks back. It's a novelty. And the kids being a part of it
They
is,
love it.
yeah,
That's the fun
and
part.
that's the best part about it.
And I know that sometimes they, you know, like safety and stuff, fun and safety don't really go hand in hand, but at the end of the day, like, are we just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how they do it on the golf course, there's people on the golf course all the time, they're kids, I mean, that's all we're trying to talk about. I mean, you know there's kids on golf courses all the time out there, kind of what is their accident report look like up there? I mean, they fall on grass, but I mean, just thinking, you know there's kids on golf courses around the area, I mean, you know that happens.
I definitely think that we appreciate you guys going such lengths to keep the kids safe. But I would agree with the common sense comment. If you're gonna put your children on a golf cart, I think there's there's an inherent risk, and any normal person would know that there's a risk there. I am a child passenger safety technician as well, and, I think if you were to use a golf cart or a UTV in a way that it wasn't meant to be, it would definitely be dangerous. I don't know, I just seemed like adding seatbelts to a golf cart, I would never wanna roll a golf cart with a seatbelt on, cause I think you'd get more hurt than if you would just fall out of it going 10 miles an hour. But I just wanted to say I do appreciate how hard you guys are trying to keep everybody safe, but I do feel like in this instance, I'm with Linda, I would totally go to Third Thursday in a golf cart, and I think it would be, especially if it's gonna get popular, it's gonna get packed down there, so I do think if that's the one thing you guys could pull off of this, I think people would be excited about it.
Okay,
And staff, we don't care. I mean, it's council's decision one way or the other. We just have to make a recommendation, or we're just trying to give you the information that you need. One of the things that I did do is I checked with the insurance company just to get their thoughts on this. And, email I got from Stacy was, they sent it out to Travelers Insurance for some insight. This is the feedback I received over a few inquiries. Travelers responded to Stacy and said, I can't make any legal advice for that. I'd recommend they work with their attorneys, which I appreciate Nate's research. Here are some thoughts regarding liability. One of them was just a question, are UTVs and golf carts allowed to be licensed for road use in the state, which they are, through the city. And then just a couple of remarks by the adjuster or the underwriter. This will likely open up the city for more exposure, more vehicles on the road, different size, safety, speed of vehicles could make for adverse driving conditions. And they brought up something I hadn't even thought about. Golf carts not as likely to handle potholes well. Just some thoughts. Ultimately, we can't advise them on what ordinances to pass. And then also they had said, you know, as far as how they would handle these kinds of cases, the one thing that I always, I get accused of thinking like an attorney, I apologize for that. But one of the things that I would say is sometimes we don't get to pick and choose who's filing lawsuits against the city and what the basis for that lawsuit's gonna be. So you can say, yeah, you assume the risk, yeah, this, and this with respect to potential tort defenses, but ultimately it's up to a jury to make those decisions. And so, or a court of law, just depending on you know, what it is. But anyway, that's our thoughts. I mean, like I said, I don't care one way or the other. I agree. I see it in a lot of other communities. But our job is just to make sure that people understand that there are risks involved, and just because one community does it one way doesn't mean that that's the right way. Like Nate said, I'm guessing probably they aren't complying with federal regulations. It's my guess. But
we got those skateboard things that are electric or whatever that people ride around town, and that right there is a big safety risk, you know, that we allow them riding around town. But is there an age limit there?
I have not researched those e-bikes or those electric scooters. I wouldn't know.
I had a citizen write me a letter that lives out at Highland Park that is very concerned. He doesn't want me to tell the cops this is happening, by the way. But he's very concerned about this young lady that must be about 12, and she's gonna ride right out in the street and get hit. But, so see, there's a lot of things going on that's out of our control.
Right.
sure.
There are.
But the difference, I guess, would be we're permitting something that the state, one of the things that's kind of complicated with this issue, and again, I'm not trying to say one way or the other, whatever the council decides, that'll be what gets implemented. But kind of piggybacking off what Kevin and Nate had to say, the state has allowed cars, trucks, certain kinds of automobiles to be permitted, and they actually do the licensing and whatnot. I think that probably they just passed the buck because they didn't want to deal with this issue, so they said, cities, you can choose to do this if you want to, because I know it's popular, but they don't have to deal with these things, and they don't have to do, I mean, we don't have the resources to do the studies that the federal agencies do in order to make sure that children are safe, that people are safe. It's not what we do here at the city, but we're just bringing this up just to say, hey, you could potentially open yourself up for liability if you were to go ahead and adopt this, one way or the other. So,
How many people did you say Norfolk had? Did you say 700?
No.
313.
313
So
registrations.
like 10%.
I don't
It's like
know,
24,000.
25,
Little-
yeah,
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like 10%, so Makuba's 10%.
So this,
70 registrations, yeah.
this ordinance is just for UTVs.
Correct.
Right.
It's,
I think we're mixing, we're UTVs and golf cars are being mixed together.
I think we were trying to address both of them.
But this just addresses UTVs.
Correct.
Right now, legally,
The current run, yes.
you cannot drive a golf cart or a car
Or a car, or
on the
low
streets
speed
of
vehicle.
McCook, right?
Correct.
Legally.
Legally.
And this,
you cannot.
this ordinance does not allow them to do that, right?
No, it excludes golf carts, cars, and low speed vehicles.
Okay. The other thing I found is, looking at Beatrice's, there's a provision about parades, and we don't have that.
I think,
Yeah, we did.
I think there
Is
is.
it in ours?
Yes.
It's at the back of all that.
7509.
Correct. 7509 allows for operation and parade.
Which one, Jerry?
7509, last page of the proposed city ordinance.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay, sorry.
So I guess one more comment on this. It's the attorney in me wanting to argue. So I guess back to the common sense, if we're going from the north part of town down to downtown, and you have a 4 or 5-year-old, like my daughter, I would have to put Lennon in a car seat, in a car. And I think it's common sense that if I put Lennon in a golf cart or UTV to make that same trip, she is less safe than in a car. So why would we say it's common sense that I shouldn't have to put Lennon in a less safe vehicle in a car seat, but in a more safe vehicle, I have to?
I think we're saying that if they should be in a car seat, maybe they shouldn't be in a golf cart or
Or a UTV.
But that's at the parent's discretion, right? You know, that's what we're making it up to them. If they're gonna be, you know, a little bit more dangerous and do that, then that's, you know, something that they're making that decision. And so, to me, I think it's gonna be hard for the police to enforce it, first of all. I mean, you get somebody, okay, they're 7 years old and they say that they're 8, you know, maybe they're with an uncle and they don't know if they're that age. I mean, I'm just saying, you have to, at some point, you have to take personal responsibility for these things, and we have to trust our citizens as well. And if it doesn't work out, I think we come back and we say, okay, we need to enforce something. And to me, that's just, I think we're making it way too complicated.
I agree, I do agree. Besides that, you're short-staffed anyway,
Correct.
chief.
Correct.
You know, and so this would be one more thing that you would have to enforce.
I think in the beginning, the novelty of it will create maybe several registrations. And you're correct, we wouldn't have time to handle everything all at once.
Amen.
So,
Amen. So I would like to see it come forward without that piece. That would be my suggestion. How about you, Darcy?
I think so too.
Which parts?
Without the.
Move forward without the enforcement.
8 years old, I would too.
Okay,
No.
okay, okay. All right.
We'll
There's,
pass the question, Chief, on 7504, equipment required.
there.
Line E is in Edward. It says a working headlight and tail light. Those are singular. Do we mean multiple headlights or
Correct.
tail lights?
Correct. The models that I looked at had 2 headlights and 2 taillights opposite. There was even one that looked like it had a 3rd brake light as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else from anybody? No? Okay. Any other council comments tonight?
That's good.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, it's time for the annual evaluation of the job performance of the city manager, Nathan A. Snyder, as allowed by state law on the majority votes. Council may go into a closed session for consideration. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'm looking for an executive session for the annual evaluation of the job performance of city manager Nathan A. Schneider at 6:27 p.m.
I'll second that. All those in favor vote yeah, press no.
Sorry.